Roger Federer's former coach gives his verdict on Coco Gauff's serving issues. Coco Gauff enjoyed another fantastic season on the WTA Tour, despite continuing to struggle with her serve. Gauff hired biomechanics expert Gavin McMillan ahead of the 2025 US Open in a bid to solve the issue, having also parted ways with Matt Daley at that time. She led the way for double faults on the WTA Tour in the latest season, having also topped the pile in 2024. But despite the evident problems, Gauff finished the season with 2 titles and ranked as the 3rd best player in the world. Paul Annacone thinks Coco Gauff simply needs a mental reset. Andy Roddick has analyzed Gauff's double faults issue ahead of the new season, with Roger Federer's former coach Paul Annacone now sharing his verdict on the high-profile situation. When asked by Tennis who he thinks will have the better 2026 season between Gauff and Aryna Sabalenka, Annacone said, "What happens over the off-season will have a lot to say about what plays out in 2026. I think Coco has a few things to iron out, more mentally than technically. We have heard and participated in the talk about her serve and her forehand, but I believe it is a mental reset that will help her get past that. If so, the sky's the limit." Aryna Sabalenka backed to have a better 2026 season than Coco Gauff. Intriguingly, Sabalenka almost quit tennis in 2022 because of the exact same issue that Gauff is currently experiencing. She was once the unfortunate leader for double faults on the WTA Tour, but has since been replaced at the top of the pile by the American. The Belarusian has completely transformed her career since then, with Sabalenka currently the #1 ranked player in the world. And according to former player Coco Vandeweghe, she will have a better time on the court than Gauff next season. Vandeweghe predicted, "Sabalenka will have the better season. She has proven it these last few years to be the more consistent and reliable player between the two." Both Sabalenka and Gauff won Grand Slam titles in 2025, emerging victorious at the US Open and French Open respectively. Intriguingly, Gauff beat Sabalenka in the Roland Garros final, having done the same at the 2023 US Open for her maiden Grand Slam title. Tennis, a game beyond the lines. When legends speak about the next generation. In the world of elite tennis, serve is more than a technical action. It's a symphony of mechanics, confidence, and courage. For some, like Serena Williams or Goran Ivanišević, the serve is the defining rhythm of their game, a thunderous proclamation of power and intent. For others, it's a tool, precise, dependable if not devastating. Coco Gauff's serve at this point in her career has been a fascinating enigma, one that invites admiration, scrutiny, and now, the thoughtful verdict of one of the game's most respected minds, Paul Annacone, former coach to Roger Federer. The Tennis Gazette +1. Brain Annacone, the mentor's mentor. To understand why Paul Annacone's words carry weight requires a glimpse into his legacy. Annacone is not just a coach, he's the coach who guided giants. He shaped the tactical genius of Pete Sampras, helped elevate Roger Federer during pivotal years of his career, and has continued to interpret the sport with the analytical eye of a few truly gifted minds. Wikipedia. Annacone's coaching philosophy is rooted in process over panic. When asked about moments of pressure or performance fluctuations, whether he's discussing his own past players or today's rising stars, he consistently frames the game as a long arc, not a momentary snapshot. And that lens is exactly what makes his comments on Gauff's serving struggles so compelling. Artist palette, the art of serving, more than emotion. A serve is physics, psychology, and personality all at once. It begins with stance and grip, flows through toss and tension, and finishes in decision and daring. Coaches spend years training players not only in muscle memory, but in emotional memory, learning to trust the motion even when the scoreboard is unforgiving. Coco Gauff has done that, nearly mastering the mental game. At just 21, she has already won Grand Slam titles, reached world #2, and carried the hopes of a nation with poise and humility. Yet her serve, especially the second serve, has been a recurring storyline, a puzzle that has drawn comments from experts, analysts, and, now, Annacone himself. The Tennis Gazette. In his assessment, Annacone sees not fatal flaw but potential in progress. He believes that the serve isn't a dead end, it's an in-progress work of art that, if refined, could unlock even greater success for Gauff. What strikes observers most is not just the critique itself, but the tone of belief. The sky's the limit, if she can iron it out. The Tennis Gazette. Direct hit, the crossroads moment, rich with possibility. There's something extraordinarily poetic about this moment in Gauff's career. She stands at an intersection between tremendous achievement and obvious room for growth. Her serve, once a reliable component, has become the subject of widespread conversation. It's something even outsiders notice: double faults, inconsistent rhythm, and serve points lost. But serve issues, in the grand scheme, are fixable. Coaches have transformed far less reliable serves into weapons across generations. It's worth remembering that a few seasons ago, Gauff reached the US Open rounds while visibly wrestling with serving consistency, and the topic dominated discussion afterward. Critics and commentators alike noted that serve woes were more than surface level, they were mental as much as technical. Tennis World USA. Yet here Anna Kohn enters the narrative, not as a critic, but as a seasoned veteran with the kind of perspective only decades in the sport can offer. He doesn't cast doubt, he frames the issue as temporary and resolvable. This is a crucial perspective for an athlete whose internal world, confidence, intent, rhythm, is as essential as their physical toolkit. Hammer and wrench, the biomechanics angle. Science meets intuition. Around the same time as Anna Kohn's comments, other experts, including Rick Matchey and specialists in biomechanics, have weighed in on Gauff's serve, emphasizing technical foundations and structural movement patterns. These voices recommend not just tweaks, but scientific understanding of the tossing arm, launch point, and body mechanics, coupled with the mental courage to trust them under pressure. Tennis World USA +1. Imagine Gauff's serve like a grand piano. The strings are there, the wood is crafted, and the musician awaits only the right tuning before playing a masterpiece. Biomechanics helps fine-tune the instrument. Mental strength ensures the performance is bold. Anna Kohn's verdict implies both sides must harmonize.